It's 6 o'clock. About to call to order the East Chicago Common Council regular meeting for Tuesday, May 26, 6 p.m. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
First District Councilwoman Monica Gonzalez.
Present.
Second District Councilman Lenny Francisci.
Lenny. Can't hear you, Lenny. Get your mute on.
Present.
Third District Councilman Terrence Hill.
Here.
Fourth District Councilwoman Stacy Winfield.
Present.
Sixth District Councilwoman Gilda Orange.
Present.
Councilman at Large Dwayne Rancifer.
Present.
Councilman at Large Emiliano Perez.
Present.
Councilman at Large Kenneth Monroe.
Here.
Council President Robert Garcia.
Present. Clerk, any minutes of the meeting?
No.
Any communication from the mayor?
No.
Yes.
Is that you, Ms. Morgan?
Yes, it is.
Go ahead. I was about to mention you, but I'm glad you're on.
Thank you, Council President Garcia. I bring greetings from Mayor Copeland, and I'm Corporation Counsel Carla Morgan. But in response to all the rain and flooding that occurred this weekend, the mayor is looking into declaring this a disaster. The mayor's been riding around and seeing all the debris and furniture and whatnot that people have thrown out that was damaged by the flood. The mayor's office and wastewater department, including the law department, have gotten calls all day about it, including calls that were referred by council persons to the city. We're researching, and we plan to ask the governors to declare this an emergency. We ask the homeowners who suffered property damage, and I can take this off so hopefully you can hear me more clearly, but we're asking the homeowners who suffer property damage document their damage with pictures so that we have that to help support our request for the disaster declaration. The mayor has allowed public works employees to work overtime to help pick up the debris. We ask that before residents throw things away, that they please document the damage with photos, keep any receipts for damage and cleanup that they've done. And we ask that because we don't know how the governor is going to react to this. No other city that we know of out of the 20 plus cities which have been impacted by the rain and weather event that occurred this weekend have declared this a disaster yet. And while the declaration comes from the power of the governor, we learned in the past with the lead crisis that one governor may say no to declaring an emergency on the same set of facts that another governor may say yes to. In the switch between Pence and Holcomb, that was our experience, whereas Holcomb saw our plight and he declared an emergency. So we're hoping that he'll have mercy on the folks that have suffered from what happened this weekend. So we ask that you also stay prayerful about all the people who've suffered and had damage to their homes from all the water this weekend. Also, I would like to remind you all that the mayor requested that Resolution 19-13, which is a towing resolution sponsored by Mayor Copeland, be pulled because it's flawed legally and we need to fix it. So that's it, that's it for me, unless you all have questions for me. But thank you very much.
Ms. Morgan, are you going to be on the meeting, the whole meeting?
I can stay.
Okay. So we Ms. Susan.
Oh, I'm sorry, President, are you finished with your question? I don't want to interrupt. Thank you, Attorney Morgan. I inquired about some issues because we received a lot of water in my house, right below the knee. That's how we were walking in water. And I do have a check valve or whatever I think that's the right wording. I do want to thank the mayor because I know that he is, as you said, the public works are working 12-hour shifts until they catch up. So that's real important. But I want to point out real quick that some of the things as residents that we could do is if you're mowing the lawn, make sure that you keep those grass clippings out of the street and rake them up or put them, pick them up and put them to be collected. And if you see your sewer on the corner or in the middle of the block, if you see that that it's with debris on it, the first thing you should do is call the sanitary district and let them know. And then sometimes, I remember if there's leaves or something blocking it, just make sure you call so they'll be able to clean that up. But I do know that Public Works is working overtime, like you said, to clean this up. And we have we stopped counting at 30 bags of garbage from our basement. So thank you, Attorney Morgan, for bringing that to the council today.
And
Council President.
Yes, no, Mr. Francisci?
Yeah, and same thing, just to chime on what Monica was saying. I mean, I know in the 2nd District, the Roxanne area, in the south side, we were hit bad. I haven't seen that much water. Even in 2008, the streets were so packed with water. I understand there was so much water and so little time, but there's most definitely another problem besides that. And they keep saying this and that, but I hope we're going to get to the bottom of it, because the residents are tired. They're fed up. Everybody's on pins and needles now over here when it rains. And I got a meeting with the mayor and some other, so hopefully we can figure this out, because it's just terrible,
Yeah, what I was going to say is that just to move the meeting along, we could bring this up in new business, because I got something to say also, but I think the forum would be in new business. So
if I could wrap up comments from the mayor.
Yes.
Just that the sewer work that we've been doing over these about 10 years or so is in large part to address the fact that we have combined sewers in a lot of places, which aggravates the situation when you get a downpour like we had on Saturday. And so as we continue to do infrastructure work, we've done a lot of work, but we have a lot more to do. We just hope that the administration and the council can talk about those things that'll help that, including, we may have to ask for a rate increase and those kind of things, so we can address our infrastructure in every neighborhood. The worst neighborhoods, who were the worst 10 years ago, were the first to get the fixes. But, I know that's not a lot of comfort if you're in Roxana or something and you have, you had a bad weekend this weekend. But we just hope that we can, work together, put our nose to the grindstone to solve these infrastructure problems so that they don't impact our residents. And to piggyback on what the councilwoman said, I've gone out and swept the debris and the plants and little things that come down from the trees out of the sewer when the water was getting out of hand. And, like many of you, I spent, Saturday helping a relative bail out. So I feel bad for what everyone has gone through, but we're going to hopefully work together on this disaster declaration and continuing to work to solve all our infrastructure problems. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Believe me, it's more than leaves and twigs in the drain.
I know. I'm not reducing it to that. I do understand.
Twigs and leaves.
I know, but
Yeah, I tell you what, so we can move this meeting along. We'll bring it up under new business, and we'll have a nice discussion with all the council involved. Any other communications from department heads?
I can't promise it'll be nice.
As long as respectful.
I promise on my end it'll be respectful, but if we can work in cooperation, I think.
Ms. Morgan, we'll continue with the meeting. Any communications from department heads?
Yes. Accounts
Yes.
payable warrants 052520CC, 052520LA, 052920CC, 050820CC.
Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Monroe, seconded by Mr. Francisci. Any questions on accounts payable warrants? Hearing none, roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Francisci,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Rancifer,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
No.
Payroll warrant biweekly 051520.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Monroe. Who seconded it?
I did.
Who? Kenny? Lenny?
No, I did. Hill.
Oh, Mr. Hill. Okay. Got you, Mr. Hill.
Thank you.
All right, any questions on payroll warrants bi-weekly? Hearing no questions, roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Rancifer,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Any committee reports? Hearing no committee reports, any board reports? No board reports, no, I see there's no ordinance on first reading, no
No.
ordinance on second reading.
No.
Any ordinance on third reading, clerk?
Yes, ordinance 20-0006, sponsor Councilman Terrence Hill, an ordinance reclassifying certain land in the city of East Chicago for zoning purposes and amending ordinance number 2752 and Title 17 of the East Chicago Municipal Code, the zoning ordinance and all maps, amendments and additions thereto, and repealing all other ordinance in conflict therewith, rezoning the former West Calumet, East Chicago housing site and Goodman Park.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion made by Mr. Hill, seconded by Mr. Monroe. Any questions on the matter? Any questions? Only one I had, as I asked to hear from the EPA, because once this land is reclassified, that the company, I don't know if any of you guys were knew that the company is going to be doing the cleanup of that site. And I wanted to know what's the oversight of EPA with this company cleaning this site. I didn't hear I can get no communications from EPA. So I just wanted to be known that I cannot vote for this because I got to hear from the EPA how the EPA is going to regulate this company to clean that land, because the company is going to clean that land up. So, any other questions?
Mr. President?
Yeah, I got a question.
Mr. President?
Well, yeah, but hold on now, Mr. Hill. Mr. Monroe speaking. Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Hill, could you explain what you explained to me to our colleague?
Did you get that? Mr. Hill? Mr. Hill, Mr. Monroe said, can you explain to the rest of the council what you explained to him?
Okay, I have a letter here from the EPA. It's a large letter, but the most important letter is coming from the last paragraph. I can make copies for you all unless you all wanted me to read it to you. I can do that as well. And also, Mr. Reed has a letter as well. And I think they sent one to you as well, too, Mr. President.
Well, I wanted them to come before the council, because sending a letter is not the correct form of communication, because we had plenty of questions, and we all had plenty of questions referencing cleanup. That's the most contaminated land in the city of Chicago, and the simple letter is not going to get me to on this matter here.
Okay.
But if you want to say what the letter says, that's fine.
Well, any agreement to do work will provide for EPA oversight of the work. In particular, the EPA will conduct monitoring to make sure that work is done safely and does not impact nearby residents. The end point of the process will be completion of the Zone 1 remedy, and then this listing. Removal of the USS goals are achieved. No. The endpoint lead site from the NPL of the site. EPA and the IDEM will be involved and engaged at the site until these goals are achieved. Following completion of these goals, EPA will still remain a presence in order to perform any statutorily required 5-year reviews, periodic reviews of the remedy to make sure that it is still proactive of human health and the environment. I trust this clarifies the role of the EPA with respect to Zone 1. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact Steve P. Kaiser, Associate Regional Counsel, U.S. EPA Region 5. And I can give you all a copy of this letter.
Any questions? There are no questions. Roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransiford,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
No. Any resolutions? Just to say,
Mr. President,
yes.
first of all, I'd like to thank my colleagues for helping me and helping my community in the 3rd District to move forward with this project. They will be most definitely happy with our council.
Thank you. As you heard, thanks. As you heard, Carla Morgan, they would like this resolution pulled. If you guys can make a motion to pull resolution 19-0013. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Orange. Second by who?
Second.
By Mr. Hill.
Yes.
Any questions? There are no questions. Roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransiford,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. I just asked Ms. Morgan that once they get that resolution to get us to us ahead of time so we can go over it in case we have to have a committee report on it. Any other resolution?
Yes. Resolution 20-0006, sponsor council members Robert Garcia and Kenneth Monroe, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of East Chicago, Indiana, opposing the NIPSCO and investor-owned utilities requests for a customer rate increase to recover revenue lost during coronavirus pandemic.
Clerk, can you read the ordinance in entirety?
A resolution of the Common Council of the City of East Chicago, Indiana, opposing the NIPSCO and investor-owned utility request for a customer rate increase to recover revenue lost during coronavirus pandemic. Whereas on May 4th, 2020, NIPSCO and 5 other investor-owned utility companies filed a petition with the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, IURC, requesting authorization to calculate coronavirus pandemic-related costs in order to recover such costs from customers via a later state-approved rate increase. Whereas NIPSCO and the other regulated utilities seek approval to separately calculate and recover costs incurred for suspending, reconnecting customers without deposits, and reconnect fees, extending customer debt payments, waiving late payment fees, and lost revenue due to commercial and industrial load reductions during the current coronavirus pandemic. Whereas NIPSCO and the utilities seek recovery of those lost revenues through customer rate hikes at a time when unemployment has reached Great Depression levels and the East Chicago residents are struggling to pay life necessities due to furloughs, layoff, and pay cuts. Whereas the Common Council has determined that it is in the best interest of public health safety, and welfare for the residents of the city of East Chicago, and has petitioned the IURC to deny this requested rate increase. Now therefore, be it resolved as follows. 1, that the Common Council of the City of East Chicago, Indiana, hereby calls upon the Utility Regulatory Commission to deny this request rate increase and instead put in place further disconnect moratoriums and the other utility consumer protection measures needed until this economic and public health crisis has ended. 2, that the city clerk is hereby directed to transmit a fully executed copy of this resolution to IURC Chairman Jim Huston at PNC Center, 101 West Washington Street, Suite 1500 East Indianapolis, Indiana, 46204.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by
Second.
Mr. Monroe, seconded by Mr. Hill. Any questions?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, who seconded?
Gilda.
Oh, good. Ms. Orange, thank you, Ms. Orange. Any questions? The reason we ended up bringing this up, NIPSCO, they rose their rates not too long ago, I believe last year, and they continue on to raise the rates on the residents during this pandemic. I think to me is a crime for them to try to make up their laws. We're still suffering from this pandemic nationally and in the States. So thank you. Any other questions? Roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Rancifer,
Yes.
Perez,
JR?
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. We're in old business. Any old business? Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes, I just wanted to update, I wanted to get an update from the health department, so I requested a meeting with our new director, Diana Burns, and myself and Councilwoman Gilda Orange, so we could meet with her and get an update on what's going on with the health department and any new positions that need to be filled. We're down, I think, to 0 inspectors right now. And with this COVID-19 and the reopening of our businesses, I think it's imperative that we have enough inspectors so that they can monitor the businesses and make sure that they're following the CDC guidelines. So that's something that we're going to do. So if you have any questions that you would like answered, or if you want to join the meeting, I'm going to get with Councilwoman Orange and see when we can meet her with Diana Burns as soon as possible, hopefully by the end of the week or early next week.
Yeah, please let me know. I have some questions too. Any other questions? Any other old business? Any old business? Now I'm hearing now new business. Miss Guzman.
I think we're going to start talking about the water issue.
Yes.
And I just wanted to, there's a couple things I wanted to point out. First of all, I'm not sure who's in charge of the Nixle or through Nixle or the alert system that we received, but I know that, the storm came, and at 6:13, after the rain had passed, after the sun was shining, that's when I got my alert. The alert actually was or they received it at 4:53. So I'm not sure who's monitoring that. I'm going to try to find out, because that alert could have helped a lot of people, including myself. The other thing is, as a resident of the first district, we received everybody who never flooded before, got water in their basement. And I mean, like I said, I have like over 30 bags of garbage out in the alley, but that doesn't compare. I mean, we got it once and Roxana got it twice. I did ask for someone from the sanitary district to come to the council and actually do a presentation and explain what's going on with those pumps and how the pumps actually could not handle all that water. If I'm not mistaken, it was over millions of gallons of water within 20 minutes. So I get that. What I don't get is the 2 days later when Roxana got it again. And I sent everybody an email because the director did email me back the questions that I answered, but I would want to have a discussion with him. So if everyone, you could check your email, and there's some answers, but there's a lot of answers that are unanswered. So I just wanted to say that.
Any other new business? Mr. Francisci?
Oh, and what I said earlier is the same thing. I mean, with the Nixle system, yeah, it could have helped some people maybe clear some of the basements out of what they got. But of course, no one was manning that, just like I believe no one was manning the pump. It's one thing to say, yeah, I get it. The water, it was so much at one time, it could not take everything. But then yesterday it started coming up again on a sunny day when it was almost 90 degrees. And it starts coming up again, and there's not a drop in the sky. So there's something there. I'm setting up something with the administration so I can see what the heck is going on for not just second district, though. I mean, for everybody. I mean, like I say, like Councilwoman Gonzalez said, there was people in the city that never had water before, and they got it. So there's something there. I don't know. I'm really frustrated right now.
Any other? Yes, Miss Winfield.
Yes, I kind of know the procedure of what happens, and I understand the water was coming fast and what happened with the first rain. But when the second rain came through, I stood and I watched and I took pictures. And for the water to sit on the corner after that second rain, it sat for maybe 20 minutes before it started to drain down. So I had a concern. I know the overflow hit us real quick. So that's why it kept on with the pumps. But when the second rain came 20 minutes later, for that rain to sit on the corner as long as it did, something was going on with the pumps, that it was not open. It should have been open. Once that water set, after it started, 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, that water should have started going down the drain, and it did not. I do have pictures of that.
Any other questions reference
yes,
the flow? Yes, Ms. Orange.
Okay, so I just want to caution the council. We're here to help make solutions with the administration. And I know this is a hard time because, like I said, I got water in my basement also. I've been here since 1988. I've had water 3 times, from the 100-year flood, that 2008 flood, and we got to make some good decisions with the mayor, because if we put out there that it's a possibility that those pumps were not open, people take real offense to that. We don't want the city to get sued if we don't really know. I am with Lenny. I think that a meeting needs to be set up with the administration and the sanitary district to try to figure out if it's the fact that we do need bigger maybe drains or whatever to try to fix this problem, because nobody wants to see this. I mean, people have spent thousands and thousands of dollars to have to throw it out in the alley, and that's heartbreaking. I said, even for me, who has a job, who has a council pay, and it's still hard, very hard to have to throw out your stuff. And for people right now that are going through this pandemic, that don't have a job, that don't have may not go back to work no time soon, this has got to be extremely hard. And so President Garcia, I would like to see if you would champion a letter to the governor also, so that we could declare this a disaster. it may not be a disaster for some people, but it's a disaster for a lot of people. And like I said, with people not working with the COVID, this is extremely hard because the things that they could replace, they can't replace now. And I called my insurance company. My insurance company basically said it was an act of God. And I told him I don't know what act that was because God truly loves me. And he wouldn't have flooded my basement like that. Now I'm going to tell you the truth. But the thing of it is that they're not going to get any satisfaction from insurance companies because they do not want to pay. And like I said, and like Carla said at the very beginning, take really, really good pictures because if we do get a disaster and FEMA comes in, you got to be able to prove to them that what happened. Because if you don't, pictures, who's going to let that moldy water sit in there 2 weeks for them to decide what they're going to do? So I would just, President Garcia, if you would make sure that Attorney Buscemi, gets a letter to also see if we can declare it a disaster. Because like I said, I looked at Munster Highlands, so we weren't the only ones that got water. But like I said, when the disaster happens, it is personal. Because like I said, this is personal to me, and I could hear, because me and Councilwoman Monica Guzman was on Facebook. I got water, you got water, and everybody was like, Oprah, everybody got water, but it was the bad part. And like I said, I don't understand the second wave of the water in Roxana, but like I said, I just hope and pray that we're going to be able to get through this. And if it's the sewers that need to be bigger, then we need to make sure they get bigger.
Attorney Buscemi, could you prepare that letter for us, please?
Yes, what would be helpful, Mr. President, is if Attorney Morgan, if you're still on the call, if you could forward to me all the communications that the mayor has had with the governor's office requesting the emergency declaration, then I can draft a letter on behalf of the city council supporting the mayor's request on behalf of the city for the governor to declare an emergency.
Attorney Buscemi, if I may. I'd be glad to work with you on the research. We haven't drafted communications yet. We've been trying to collect information on the damage to support the declaration. And we've been through this process before in 2016 and 17 with the lead, so we're doing our due diligence now, but I'd be very happy to work with you on it.
That would be great. Has there been any communication by the mayor's office with the governor's office up until this point?
No, that's the thing. We just got in today. We're collecting information on the extent of the damage. So we have to have our ducks in a row before we engage the governor, and that's what we're doing now.
All right. Mr. President, we'll certainly work together, but specifically for the letter of support from the council, I'll make sure that that's drafted properly and that it is communicated to the appropriate official at the governor's office.
Yeah, thank you.
If I may, we had the experience of being rejected by the Pence administration and then having, tweaked our request just a little bit when Governor Holcomb became governor. So we've been down this path before. So I think working together will get the best response.
Ms. Guzman?
I know Attorney Morgan had stated that she wants us to take pictures and all that. Do you have a certain place you want us to bring them, or you just want us to hold on to them until you have some more information on what we should do with them?
For the moment, if you would hold on to them and encourage residents to take pictures of their belongings, the water line in the basement, where you can see how high the water was and those kind of things. And then as we meet with each council person, which we're beginning tomorrow, the mayor's meeting with Councilman Franciski, because we know Roxana had the worst damage. We're going to work through what the process would be. We have a process for regular claims for damage, but again, this is not the typical thing we've been through. This is pretty extraordinary. So we're working out what's going to be the best way to handle all that. So we don't have an answer yet, but we like to work together with you.
Yeah. Attorney Morgan, can you probably put a message out of NISCO, reference that information of telling residents to take pictures, keep that information because we might need it in the future. Also on Facebook page for Chicago, you can put that information on there. let's try to get the word out as much as possible for the residents take those pictures. If you could get that on that NISCO alert on the phone.
Well, I'll work with Mr. Segura on all that.
Yeah. And one thing, yeah, that flood is, it was a lot of rain that came down. A lot of rain. I know I drove through a couple cities and streets were just flooded. Matter of fact, 165 was closed down because it was flooded. But I know Roxanne has been, I don't know what it is. This has just been for years. Go down to a couple administrations also with this flooding and Roxanne, and they always get it bad. You hear the rumors out there. I don't listen to rumors that people put out there about this wasn't open, that wasn't open. That's why we need the doctor to come before us or set up a meeting that we could talk to them. But I know there's a lot of rain and such a few times, but getting flooded when it's a sunny day makes no sense to me. But we need the doctor to come before us so we can ask some questions.
We are working on putting reports together, so all those questions will be answered. But we have had an extraordinary amount of rain here this month.
Yes, we did. And
then with what happened Saturday, just across North Lake County, sewer systems were overwhelmed with the amount of rain that we had. So, again, if we can work together on infrastructure problems, and again, the mayor intends to meet with each of you so we can talk through these things. He'd also asked that the rate increase that was proposed some months ago, the mayor worked and did studies on that for over 6 months. And as I understand it, that's on the table now. You all would bring it off the table and consider it. We can work through that plan. We can tweak it. But we've got to have the water utility and the sanitation district have got to have money to be able to continue to fund the sewer improvements we've done a lot of. But we've got to be able to fund those things properly so that we can continue to improve infrastructure across the city. Again, as you all are well aware, we've done millions and millions of dollars with matching funds from the state and federal government, NDOT and whatnot, to improve our infrastructure, but it's always going to be a work in progress. And we want to address the areas that have the greatest need. But we really do want to work with you all to understand the needs in each of your districts and solve this for our residents, because again, it's really a tragedy what people are going through, and we're already in economic hard times, and then to have families have to deal with this on top of it, we just need to try to solve it as best we can as quickly as we can. So, any other questions?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, Mr. Perez.
First of all, like with Lenny, Monica, Gilda getting water in their basements, I saw a lot of this stuff firsthand in the last few days and saw the devastation that it wreaked on a lot of families in this community. The pain in their eyes is more than just the money. It's, the memories, the photo albums, the personal items that are very hard to replicate. And their broken voices when they were talking to you, just, sharing with you how disgusted they were with the condition that they're in. And I'm glad that you're going to call for Dr. Z to come before us and so that we can, I don't think that I think Gilda's right to not be making accusations or statements that may hurt us. However, the public should know that we're going to try to get to the bottom of what's going on over there, if anything is going on, and try to be as transparent as we can. However, I will caution my colleagues I knew right away that they would come with the rate increase when I saw the floods. And we did extensive work on that to show that they have the money to start the phase. This isn't the forum to do that, but I just want everyone on this council, educate yourself before you run on emotion on this incident. We have the capability to do the work that needs to be done and without incurring further damage on our community by increasing their rates by 50%. 60+%. So I just want to say that I think everybody's been thoughtful. I don't think anyone's been reckless. I thank all my colleagues for that. But reach out to your neighbors, man. There's a lot of people hurting right now over this, and a lot of loss, a lot of personal loss. That's all I got to say right now. Thank you.
Mr. Hill.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. I got a lot of calls both days, and I called the service sanitation, and those guys came right out when they could to try to help me with my residents in the 3rd District. So I'd like to say thank you to that sanitation department, although everything was going on. They did take time to come out and service the residents in the streets where we had floods over in the 3rd District.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention also they were out there.
I didn't even know if anybody would be in the office, but Ray was in the office, and he took all my messages, and they came out.
Yeah, I seen a lot of them out that night, that evening and that night, trying to help as many residents as they can. But yeah, I want to say thank you to the sanitary department and the employees for coming out. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have
Yes.
one last thing. I know that I do work for Frank Murvan, but I would like to send a letter to him thanking him for the residents in my district that he did help on a holiday, on a Sunday, to try to get them at least cleaning supplies. He is now also working with the Red Cross to try to see if they would be the ones to help, because if they do declare this disaster, FEMA and Red Cross will be helping out the different people. So I do want to send a letter to him thanking him for the people in my district that were allowed to get cleaning supplies. Thank you.
Ms. Orange, is he still doing it now?
He did it for 3 days. They're trying to
Okay.
figure out if they're going to do it again.
Okay.
But like I said, right now, I know that they are trying to work with the Red Cross to see if they can bring them in, because it would be just like it would be a fire, this flood. So they're trying to work with them. So we'll know something the next couple of days.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think we could stop some of the accusations if they just come out and tell us the truth on what is going on and some of the facts, and that will stop the accusation. So I'm hoping the administration will come out, them and the wastewater, and just let the residents know what is going on. That's all. A lot of them call me and they're frustrated just like me, but they want to know what's going on. That's all. I mean, and then, you know, of course, it's Chinese telephone, everybody, this, and this. So I'm hoping this administration will come out, stop the accusations with some of the facts of what happened. That's all. And I think that would clear a lot of this up, so a lot of the residents will know what's going on for possibly the next time. You know, that's all.
Councilman Francisci, could I forward you my questions? I may not be able to make that meeting with the administration. When you have that, can I forward you the questions that I need answers to?
Please do. Please do. And any other of my colleagues, please, you have my email, please do, you know.
Yeah, just to chime on that, it's been a long time issue, so this is just not an issue that just raised up. I know
No,
they've been flooding since the 80s, probably.
I've been there.
And stuff like that. So this has been a long time issue. To me, a rate increase is not the correction for this, because I know we spend a lot of money on some other stuff that, other stuff needs to be cut out before we even think about a rate increase on the residents. Any other new business?
I just got one more thought, Mr. President.
Yes.
What we need is the will to get done what needs to be done over there. No one has wanted to do the type of infrastructure work that needs to be done in Roxana. And this is a personal belief. This is not me, what I have any engineering or anything like that. The will isn't there to put the money forward that it's going to take. But I think that time has long passed for the council to say, if that infrastructure work does not get done, that we will not authorize infrastructure work anywhere else in the city. And when we do that, you'll see things get redirected. Them people have been suffering in Roxana for a long time. And it's all over the city, don't get me wrong. I lived in Prairie Park, and I'd have 3 feet of water every time that we had something like this. But I just think that we need to have a real come to Jesus moment about the bad flooding area moments and say what's right for the people of East Chicago, and maybe take a pause on some of the other infrastructure projects that we got and face the ones that are affecting people's lives. All of them are important. Listen, beautifying the city is important. It's contributed to new homeowners, a lot of positive, but I just think we need to pause and say we need to take care of these homeowners that are time in and time out. I got one movie from one homeowner, man. She was literally 3.5 feet of water. It's devastating. We got to do something. That's it. I'm sorry. I didn't want to wrap.
If I may just add a little bit, please. Well, the mayor asked me to ask you all, if you don't want to work with the infrastructure plan he put forward, that you put forward an alternative infrastructure plan. Now, the beautification projects we've done to put out flowers and stuff is tens of dollars, but we've spent tens of millions on infrastructure. To do sewers on a block is a couple $1 million per block. That is where the lion's share of the city's money has gone. All the discretional spending that has been done over these 9-10 years, the lion's share has been infrastructure projects. So we're kind of having a circular argument. We're saying we should spend more infrastructure, but if you look at what we've spent, it's been the lion's share on infrastructure. So again, money has been put away for a rainy day. Well, today is a rainy day, figuratively with the COVID and literally with what happened Saturday. So the city is facing, like all cities around us, late tax draws. Our big ratepayers, Arcelor, and others have informed the city that they're going to take advantage of the option to pay up to 4 months late. We're expecting lower tax collections from the average homeowner because of hardship people are going through. All these things is the money that's been set aside for the city was going to get us through the hard times that we're having this year, and we hope that we're back on our feet with normal deadlines and normal tax collection rates and that kind of thing next year. But again, we need you all's help. We need to work hand in hand. And you know that how the money's been spent. Anybody who's looked at the budget knows that we put a ton of money, whatever we've got, we've put it into infrastructure and a little bit on beautification to help the quality of life in the city. But now's the time for us to all get very serious and address that. We need you to put forward a plan. If you've rejected the mayor's plan, so we need a real plan that addresses these problems. We've done tens upon tens of millions of dollars in sewer projects, and obviously we need to do more. So that's just
Mr. President, I just want to add, I did submit alternative to the rate increase. If I'm the one you're referring to, we did put up an alternative conflict, an idea to debate. We even asked to be brought into the table. So let's keep the conversation going. None of that was done. So if you're asking for alternative, I'll send you one.
Okay, we'll work together. All right. And the proposed increase was $5.50 per home, not 50%, not a 50%.
Ms. Morgan, just to go along with the meeting here, if you could just hold your comments, because let the councilman speak. This is not going to be debated today. We're not going to go back and forth on this. If the mayor has a plan, have him submit that plan. But we're not going to debate that on the floor here. And you just can't interject anytime a councilman speaks. So, okay, if you could please hold your comments, I appreciate it. Any other comments about the sanitary? Any other new business? Any other new business? Hearing no other new business, public expression. Anybody out there for public expression?
No one's here.
Yes.
Yeah, we here.
Okay, state your name and your address.
Akeisha Daniels, 4719 Cary Street.
Mr. Hill, you got the time clock, Mr. Hill?
I'll get it just a second.
Ms. Daniels, if you could hold on, please.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Go ahead, Ms. Daniels.
I'm not too happy with what was proposed or what passed with the rezoning of West Calumet. I'm a little upset because my grandmother, like I said, lives on 149th. We were knee deep in water the other day. She's lived there since 1954, and this is the worst flood we've ever seen. She told me a couple of days that someone was in the alleyway about a week ago, in the alley, digging up something, and the people on 149th have knee-deep water in their basements with their deep freezers flipped over in them. The next thing is, Mr. Hill, we need your number. We need your email in that area because that's your area. So I'll be looking forward to getting that from you as soon as possible. I was sent the email a couple of days ago about giving something towards this rezoning or whatever. I didn't read the email, and I just forwarded it. So I would like it to go on record that I did not support that. Me and Pauline Jefferson, Keisha Daniels and Pauline Jefferson are not in support of that email because when I went back to try and change it, the email was closed down. And another thing that I want to know is what are they doing about that water that's coming up out of the canal that's flooding over into the old West Calumet area? And what are they doing about the fishes that are over there as well? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Yes.
State your name and your address, please.
This is Maritza Lopez. I live at 4928 Euclid Avenue, East Chicago. I'm calling in based on the decision that the council has made. Gilda, you hit the nail on the head. You said this is personal, and with the storm. We've been living on a personal decision with the lead and arsenic contamination, the water, the seepage coming into our basements here. The decision you made with that logistical company, turning that into industrial, guess what? You just added more contamination. Because here in East Calumet, there's a permeable barrier wall from DuPont, and that still does not stop the contamination, the water, the flooding into our basement from the lead and arsenic. And if they add that to the residents in building into Calumet, between West Calumet, it's still not going to stop it. The reason is it's because we live on sand and dunes and we're wetlands. Just a word of suggestion, in Roxana, you need to check because you got the Calumet River and they're dredging over there. So the council needs to check in that. That might be the problem because that's also sand and dunes. So that's probably why the additional flooding. Carla, I suggest in your letter, you also add for the emergency thing, the Superfund site for zones 2 and 3, the continual contamination for us in the Superfund site. But I want to thank the council, and I'm going to leave this because basically once you won, you became demigods along with the administration, and that's hurtful to us because as Gilda said in Nayendas, this is personal, and we've been living with this personal pain all this time, and the homeowners have had no support whatsoever. So I thank you, and as the Bible says, you reap what you sow. Thank you.
Any other public comment out there? Any other public comment? Hearing none, there's one thing I forgot in my notes here because I had so many here. I know there's a gas station going up on Chicago Avenue and Euclid. If we got somebody from business and planning to come before us, because I had quite a few residents that came in objection of that gas station. So if somebody from business and planning could come before us, Elida, can you send them a letter to come to our next meeting? Elida? Mr. Well, I'll get a hold of
She's not here.
to get that letter.
She's not here.
Is there a motion? Any other public expression? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Moved by Ms. Orange, second by Mr. Monroe. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Rancifer,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. See you on the next meeting.
Thank
All
you.
right.
All right, thank you, Ms. President.